So this was where I decided to go back to the drawing board with Fane specifically, because there were way too many times he contributed nothing uh, to to the fight, and so basically just re-rolled him completely for a rogue. Um, which for some reason I was really hesitant to do, and I don't know why. I really don't know why. Um, and I think I took out most of the, like, I don't know why I really wanted to. Well, okay, so I really wanted to keep him as Geomancer for the poison abilities, um, and basically for free healing. I think that's kind of the trap with the undead is, oh, you can't be healed, but through regular means, but you got the geomancy school, which is basically healing for the undead, except no, it's not. Uh, it absolutely does not come in handy. Um, terrible, terrible thought process going into that. Uh, So rolled him for a rogue, and then had to go get the weapons and the skill books, and all for this fight. All for this fight. Um, I would say this fight is the first one that's just pain in the ass. Um, it almost seemed like this fight was the first time the game actually threw terrain at you in a meaningful way. Um, because those sons of bitches, those archers, uh, are a real pain in the ass through this. And you're totally bottlenecked. I mean, you are at a full disadvantage here. Um, so I think this was kind of the first real, uh, oh, these fights are going to be annoying as well as difficult. I think I just wanted to celebrate Fane's first kill. Oh, you better kill him. He didn't. Now I remember. Yeah, I was really trying to get Fane rebalanced and really figuring out what I wanted to do. My entire goal with this was to just basically not 100% re-roll a character I started with, and I couldn't even make it off Fort Joy before I re-rolled Fane. Um, and I don't know what I was thinking for him, aside from just geomancy. Get that geomancy up, and then I, I don't know. I don't know that I did. I knew I wanted Fane. I knew I wanted him, and then geomancy just seemed like a good idea. Um, and this was also kind of a point where you start to realize how absolutely mandatory these mobility spells are. Um, if you can't teleport or move your character in some type of bounding fashion, this game's going to be impossible. And so really getting the feel for that and the process for that again kind of happens in this fight, and really makes you considerate of that. I'm also hoping that doing this post commentary is going to help with some of the ambient noise, ambient the background noise in videos I've done in the past. Like I can kind of hear the PlayStation whirring because it gets hot as balls in this room. It's not COVID. It's not COVID. Oh, I'm fine.
Must be delirious. You look like death. Help, please. I need healing.
I wondered at this point if, because it was Fane, if he would actually give him like a poison potion.
Of course. There's a boat that can take you into the dunes.
I wouldn't have been surprised.
2 associates of mine run it. I can show you where. But they'll kill you on sight if you don't know the proper password. Heal me, and I'll gladly... I feel it at work upon me already. Thank you, my friend. There is a waterway, a boat. Hand me a map. It isn't far. You'll meet some associates of mine. Tell them Madame Zur sent you, and they'll let you pass. Enough to matter, not enough to stage a coup. The Voivod can have people terrified, not only for their lives, but for the very air they breathe. Dallas and Alexander offer a solution. People need solutions at a time like this, no matter the consequences. Some people. No, I imagine not. She's the headmistress of an orphanage in the far north. She keeps sorcerer children safe from the Divine Order. I can think of no nobler soul in all the realm. With her help, we've saved countless children from Dallas and Alexander, and we aim to save many more. You've given me
I think we'll get to explore the morality of this game. It definitely, I'm kind of on autopilot when I'm playing. I'm not really paying attention to a lot of it.
No one's authorized to be here.
Well, the log was wrong, you idiot. I hope for your sake no one will listen.
The magic
Say
cocks his head, seemingly surprised at what he heard.
That's so. Tell me, what do you know about Zora?
I wonder if there's a wrong answer.
That she surely is. That she surely is. Never was known for her patience, was she? If you're taking this run, the kid'll have to go with you. Feisty one too. Liable to jump into the canal if you don't want you close. That right, Han? It'll be alright once you get settled in. We won't delay you. Karen and I have guard duty coming up. At least we won't be late this time. What with Dallas sniffing around for escapees. Good luck to you.
The boy stands back from you, steady eyes narrowed in a wary stare.
Who are you?
Ethan.
I'm Han. So, Ifan. You helped me out of there, so let me return the favour. You want to get out of here? I've a boat here with plenty of room. Let's go.
Yeah, this was the first time I left through this method. Usually I get out through the sewer, but I did that fight way late because I don't like it.
Figure out what to do next. Let's go already. Great. Jump in the boat and I'll take the oars.
I think it's kind of one of the first like overwhelming fights. But yeah, the duality of the moral dilemmas this game kind of gives you sometimes, I think will be interesting fodder for conversation and analysis.
Better get a move on to safety before anything spots us.
It poses quite the complex conundrum.
You helped me, so I hope I'm making the right choice in trusting you. You need a place to lay low for a while. I know a safe enough place. My friends there are all in pretty bad shape, but it's safer than out here, that's for sure. Oh, they're seekers. I don't know what that really means, come to think of it. They're kind, though. Magisters kicked him something fierce, but still they gave me water and bread and shelter when I needed it. You won't stand across it in the dark, I'll tell you that. It's well concealed from prying eyes. But here, hand me your map and I'll mark
I think the
it.
no fun answer to this would just be that all sorcerers, like, not to this capacity where they're like essentially made brain dead and zombie husks, but basically say, look, if you're a sorcerer, then you are a magnet for the Void Woken. You all are going to live in a colony and train to fight, and you're going to spend your existence fighting off this threat that is your threat alone, and it's going to take place entirely on this continent. Right there. I mean, kind of problem solved, right? Like, you're not mandating that their powers be taken away. You're assuring they'll learn good and effective use of their powers, so that when the threat that comes on that is solely theirs, they'll be ready for it, and then they just go live on this society where their needs are met, but when they attract a void, they are the ones who fight it off. Like, is that the thing? Are the sorcerers or the source users the only entry point for the Void Woken? I'm not entirely sure about that.
He had us cruise and 6 days in the sun. But grave duty calls, so I have to run. Too dangerous.
But I think, it's like a reasonable solution was completely abused with zealotry, I suppose.
By leaving me stranded among those red roads with these magic sticks you mean? No, it's quite clear to me that you are much more worthy of an honest cat's company.
I don't remember what this cat's supposed to do, but I have it as a summons. Maybe I'll use it at some point.
At your service.
Oh, and this is one of the best moments for Ethan.
The hooded man exudes an aura of restrained menace. As he raises his head, the hood falls
Ethan.
revealing the gleaming bone visage of the undead.
Ah, Ethan been mistaken.
Ethan. So like Ethan, not like Ivan.
He's Alistair. Roost sent me to give you some aid in your little errand.
Give it to me, baby.
Alexander out here.
Uh-huh.
Precious little morsel called Shadow's Eye. should help you send him to his rightful place beside his father in the Hall of Echoes.
The undead's bony claw pulls an elaborate crossbow from seeming thin air. It's cold as the grave to the touch, and enveloped in misty shade. He proffers it to you, along with a single rank-smelling arrow.
Ah, that should help. Now, run along with your new toys. I've my own errands.
So, since I'm playing with all the gifts on, well, not all of them, but a bunch of the accessory perks, have access to the items that let you raise the level of equipment and weapons. And so I've upgraded that Shadow's Eye twice, because that thing is awesome. It's so good.
She cries to the skies in frustration in a recognizable rail-thin rasp.
My lord, I've loved you. I've obeyed you. What's my sin? How long must I suffer?
She sees Fane approach and punches her fist in his direction. Her face flushes red. It's her, the one that destroyed Fort Joy. Her eyes flare with recognition. She demands to know who Fane is, what he is. No one should be able to craft something like his mask. Fane dances around her question and reverses it. Who is she? Who is this lord of hers? She does not seem eager to answer him either. The witch opens her mouth to speak, but something happens. Her face droops and her eyes turn black.
Fane, the traitor shall be destroyed.
Oh, I forgot about that.
She turns her head to the heavens once more.
I offer this sacrifice to you. Return me to your side. Make me whole.
I am intrigued by this game. And this is another kind of nice thing about sitting down to actually watch it and do post commentary is, again, I'm not in absorb mode when I'm playing this. I am much more passive. I'm much more passive isn't the right word. I'm much more combat execution oriented. Kind of this, I mean, Final Fantasy Tactics, I'm probably second only to Monster Hunter World, the amount of time I've put into that game. And it's very much the same as far as just I could not describe the story of Final Fantasy Tactics to you past maybe the 5-hour mark. I have no idea. I literally have no idea what the story of that game is. I just think it is so damn fun to play. And this kind of lets me. This is probably the closest thing to Final Fantasy Tactics since Final Fantasy Tactics. My mind kind of goes to, like, I want to say Disgaea, but it really wasn't. I mean, the jobs in Disgaea kind of just felt more like what weapons you use than anything else. I mean, the jobs in Tactics, God, that they were so well done, so well put together, and felt so drastically different. I love that game. If there was a way to play that through the PS4, there are so many games I hope I can figure out how to stream through this. I'm hoping to get a PC this year and actually do some recording of some of the more vintage stuff, like my real favorites, Breath of Fire 3, Suikoden 2, some of like my old school favorites that I really don't have another way to play. So I'm hoping I can work that out later this year, depending on when I'm allowed to work again. This place is not somewhere you're supposed to be exploring. It is off limits. I mean, in the world sense, obviously. It's not like outside. It's not like out of bounds in the game. But you find some pretty good stuff up here. And one particularly bad stuff. But mainly some pretty good stuff.